What up, everybody? It's your boy CG back to you guys again with some more cryptocurrency news and information. Now, before we get into today's topic, I would really appreciate it if everybody watching could kindly hit that like button. It's free to hit the like button, and it also brings visibility to the channel. So, moving into today's first article, I know yesterday I was kind of being on the more somber. Was somber the word? I don't want to say somber because I don't like just throwing words out there because words have intentions and meanings behind them, so I don't want to just throw any word out there. So, but I was being on, how can I put this, more of a I was playing devil's advocate yesterday to a certain extent, and the last couple of days, just in general, just having a realistic outlook on price action going forward with Bitcoin. Like I said, I was stating that in for the short term future, I do not see there being any real big price movements besides maybe people making quick profits here and there, shakeouts, whatever you want to call it. It's just small things. It's just ups and downs. Regular ups and downs. I don't really see anything happening besides those regular market movements. But today I will be talking about people's view on the long term of Bitcoin's, as far as price action goes. And when Bitcoin goes up, the rest of the market tends to follow. So if you have a favorite alt out there, and you all of you, pretty much, if you're just watching this and you're just getting into the cryptocurrency industry, when Bitcoin goes up, it tends to be, how can I put this, a domino effect. And other things tend to follow, some more than others, some less than others. It just depends where you're positioned. But that's generally the market trend. And who knows, this may not be a forever thing. The next bull cycle, it may be completely different. But as far as I know, and from having been here about, 3 years now, I would say that that's generally how things go. So yeah, this news basically affects the entire market. But first article, billionaire optimistic on BTC as a flight to safety. So yeah, allow, because I actually do enjoy getting notifications. In an interview with Morgan Creek Digital founder Anthony Pompliano, Chamath Palit. I'm usually really good at pronouncing people's names, but his name is kicking my ass. Mr. Chamath, billionaire CEO of venture capital firm Social Capital, said that now could be Bitcoin's time to shine. I think Bitcoin needed a moment like this for it to be relevant. Palahapitias Chamath said it's still a speculative instrument and it's too speculative for it to be reliable, he explained. BTC is still too turbulent. In his interview with Mr. Pompliano, Chamath talked about a bevy of topics pertaining to the current global economy in terms of replacing USD or other global currencies. Chamath explained BTC is still too volatile. The only market that's even more important than the debt markets are the currency markets, he said. Chamath explained currency markets are a relatively low amount of volatility, and that's very true. If you guys are into Forex can be extremely boring, but really profitable. And I tried to get into Forex, and while I was still a noob, and it was kind of I was still really, I was a novice, completely a novice, so I didn't really understand as much, but I could tell that if you understood the forex market, you could make a lot of money there because it's not that volatile. There's no big upswings and ticks unless like a country literally goes to shit, kind of like Zimbabwe did, or even Venezuela's currency, freaking 1,000,000% hyperinflation. Like unless a country literally goes to shit, like you're generally going to be dealing with currencies that fluctuate, not with wide swings, but really small swings. But that's where the money's made, and that's why I'd recommend you guys, if you're interested in learning how to trade, or in learning, understanding charts and markets for the day when crypto does become that market, then you might want to dip your hands into maybe like a traditional market and learn how it works, because right now I think everything in crypto is basically all fundamentals. But yeah, BTC can't be used in the same fashion. The billionaire said BTC is immensely volatile compared to the currency markets. You can't effectively use it, he posited. It pushes it into this ghetto of day traders and speculators, and right now that's where we are. Very true. Like I said, right, we're all in the fundamental stage. Like it's all speculative, speculation, and fundamentals. That's everything. And oh yeah, adoption. Well, I think adoption falls into fundamentals, kind of. So yeah, Chamath explained that BTC exits that ghetto by losing the day traders and speculators while keeping some of the attraction of long-term holding. Then you need to have it slowly look like the traditional infrastructure could really implode, he said. He Chamath added that BTC could eventually be seen as a flight to safety, pending the likelihood of debasement in an attempt to avoid traditional framework failure. Over the next 10 years, where this trajectory is going to take shape, and it is a 10-year trajectory, you'll have a lot of time to vector into it to protect yourself and to hedge yourself, he said. Adding, this is either zero or millions because what it will do is it will create a quasi gold standard. It'll create an index, except instead of having to own gold, where gold is owned by central banks, it is an instrument that has value that's determined by and between its participants and is owned by everybody. This is why how can I put this? When I say avid, is that the proper word? I don't think I should say avid, but I'm really big into owning your metals. Like if you're into buying precious metals, go buy silver. Go actually buy ounces of silver. If you want gold, generally you're not going to be sitting here buying gold bars, off the internet or anything. But go buy jewelry. Like go buy 100% gold jewelry and like stock up on that because at the end of the day it's worth something that's actual gold. You feel me? Like that's how I see the metals market, especially with people who say that they buy into gold and all this stuff. Like, let's be real, 80 to 90% of the people who say they buy into gold, they generally don't have actual physical gold. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just living in a bubble. But from my understanding, people just tend to not actually have their physical gold. That's somebody else is holding it, but they have a piece of paper that says they have this gold. That's kind of like what happened. Well, not what happened, but that's kind of why people what was this back in the 1940s or was it 1918? I can't remember which year it was, but when the United States government actually had put out a law stating that anybody who was holding actual gold is going to be deemed a criminal and people need to turn in all of their physical gold. I thought that was crazy. So you understand why people weren't trying to turn their gold in now, because look at what it's worth. Like people thought that was a retarded deal. Why should I trade in my gold for physical pieces of paper or promissory notes saying that, oh, I have this amount of gold? That's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Then Nixon took us off the gold standard. So it's basically people traded their money, traded their gold for. Man, let's get on with it. The crypto industry has viewed BTC as a type of hedge for a number of years. Pompliano himself even lobbies for BTC as an asset uncorrelated to traditional markets. So yeah, that's Mr. Chamath's thoughts on BTC's future. So he's really optimistic on it, and his optimism lies in the fact that potentially there will be a time when the market isn't so volatile. And me personally, I think that when the market becomes less volatile will be the day when BTC has exploded and grown so much that it can't grow anymore. That's the only way for it to not be volatile. Do you get what I know you guys understand where I'm coming from. We're all adults here. So essentially what I'm saying is BTC has to grow to a certain dollar amount. I don't know whether the future is going to be denominated in dollars still or whatever it's going to be denominated in, but it's going to have to grow to a certain amount before its moves aren't that radical. It doesn't make these crazy up and down price swings. That's why I think a lot of people are really optimistic about the future of BTC as far as it's becoming a stable form of currency or a stable store of value, because so many people and big companies are adopting it into their systems. But yeah, moving on to the next article. Oh, okay. Top investors think BTC can breach 20,000 in coming 12 months. Here's why. So yeah, we have some talking heads over here speculating on why they believe it should reach 20,000 shortly, which I don't believe anybody can I mean, people have been saying this for how many years? Oh, it's going to hit this and XYZ. Like, it's whatever. But let's still hear what they have to say, because everybody, I feel like, has a different perspective, and it's all about when you're formulating a solution to a problem or trying to figure something out. It's always good to have different outlooks or different ways of viewing the scenario. But yeah, over the past few weeks, a number of analysts have touted the sentiment that within the coming year, the price will surpass 20K, nearly 200% higher than the current price of 6,700. People touting this sentiment include Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Digital, Raul Pal of Real Vision, and Dan Moorhead of Pantera Capital, all former institutional traders turned bulls in the crypto market. The math agrees with this sentiment. What's interesting is the math mostly agrees with this lofty sentiment. In March of 2019, pseudonymous analyst Plan B released the below chart to the world, revealing that the value of the value of the BTC network can be determined by the scarcity of BTC. Scarcity in Plan B's eyes was determined by the stock to flow ratio, or the amount of an asset's above ground supply over the amount of the asset minted in a year. So yeah, demand and supply. Plan B's econometric model found that after the block reward halving in May of this year, the fair value of the BTC network will rise to 1 trillion to 2 trillion, which coincides with approximately 50,000 to 100,000 per coin. So, yeah, at the end of the day, that's why a lot of people really like BTC, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. When it comes to money, money is a numbers game. It's literally a numbers game. That's what money is. So when you have something, especially a currency, that it in of itself, its self-worth, its value is a numbers game, I'd say, how can you really argue with that to a certain degree? You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to be all conspiratorial and stuff like that, and talk about how it's the new world currency to track everybody, all that Illuminati stuff, yeah, that's one thing. But all of you are here to make money, so I understand when people coming around here with this conspiratorial stuff, but nobody cares what you talk about. Like, to be honest with you. The model has been found to have an R squared of around 93% to 95%, depending on what installment of Plan B's model you look at. That model is also co-integrated. Co-integrated. I was about to say that was the lamest word. Like, I've seen a lot of lame terms come out of this crypto market. I was about to say that's the lamest one, but nah, the model is also co-integrated, suggesting that the model is not spurious. Notably, the model doesn't say that the price of BTC should be at the fair value at the time of halving, but rather predicts a rise to that level with time. It's not that simple. I keep reading the titles like they're part of the articles. Although the expectation is BTC will hit 20K within the coming year, some say that a crashing stock market could change that. Chris Berniska of Placeholder Capital explained that he's open to the idea BTC will see some further downside, which I completely agree with. I feel like in the short term, we are going to see some more downside. And who knows, maybe even in the medium to the mid to short term, you never know. Because like I said, it's all fundamentals and speculation. If somebody speculates 3,000, it could well hit 3,000, especially if a whale is feeling some type of way that day. From a market's perspective, here's the opportunities I see. If global markets freak out again, then there are a number of lows in the 5s, 4s, and 3s that it could reach. Other assets would test their own lows. And we all know when BTC tests its lows, everybody comes down with it. So I don't even know. So yeah. But that's that article talking about a perspective on why it could reach that amount, that 20K within the next 12 months. But we've all heard that before, but it's good to have another person's insight into that. BTC, wow, why does it skip all the way to the bottom? I did not read this article yet. It's weird. BTC whale, world is in for the biggest economic shock in generations. He's not necessarily talking about BTC. He's more talking about the economic side of it, I'm guessing. Because, the world's... Because he says economic shock, so I'm guessing that this isn't really a BTC article. But all of this stuff ties in. It feels as though the past couple of months have marked the end of an era, and one prominent BTC whale is now noting that he believes the world is about to incur one of the biggest economic shocks seen in generation. This may fundamentally alter the structure and dynamics of society, with attempts being undertaken by governments and central banks across the world to curb the economic decline. You see, I was right. Yeah, it's all about wording with me. Like I said, I take words very seriously because words mean something. And a lot of people, as much as you would think they understand that, as much as you think that's common sense, people don't understand that words have meanings and words have intentions when you use words. People don't take words seriously anymore. I think that's one of the shortcomings of this generation. One investor and self-described economic historian is explaining that this turmoil is likely to shift the world's focus onto three assets, potentially proving to be bullish for BTC. Okay, so he kind of led into it. Okay. Over a mid and long-term time frame, Bitcoin whale warns investors to brace for waves of economic shock. A prominent BTC whale can typically be found harvesting massive trading profits at the top of the. So, does this dude like anonymous and he's just talking to News BTC? I don't know. Explaining the response to a question on Twitter, he believes the world's current economic situation is dire. Oh, he's a Twitter dude. He notes that the imminent crisis is likely to unfold in waves, with each one coming with its own host of problems and focuses. It is going to be the biggest economic shock of our generation. It will unfold in waves and over time giving false hopes and then crushing them. The focus of the crisis will be shifting through different areas. Attempts to alleviate and solve one crisis will lead to even more problems. So yeah, you guys can go over here and you can actually see. I'm guessing this is him because I see the whale. Small flex, small flex, subtle flex. That's funny. This sentiment comes on the heels of another insight from the Bitcoin whale, in which he noted that the economic reality we all lived in before 2020 is over, with a new arduous reality likely lasting for another 20 years. What could this mean for BTC? Raul Pal, a prominent investor, spoke about this in a recent thread of tweets in which he sees the Fed fund hitting negative 2% while 10-year bond rates also go negative. He muses that this will place the focus of the world on three main assets: USD, the gold, and BTC, and this focus eventually shifting away from USD, as we already kind of know for a fact that it is, just based on what's been going on, if you've been paying attention at least, eventually being fully focused on BTC and metals. Dollars, gold, and BTC make the most sense later. Much later, just gold and BTC. This is an 18-month to 36-month view. Expect many counter trend moves along the way. We'll have to navigate those. Like I said, midterm, short to midterm, potentially, we're going to see a lot of bouncing in the same range. It's going to be ranged movements. Basically, it's going to be very predictable ranged movements for a short to midterm. As global chaos mounts, the need for so-called hard money has never been higher, and although the demand for it has been lagging, it is likely to grow in the years and even decades to come. Well, yeah, everybody, that's today's articles.